owning anything is forbidden, so you have nothing. Our story starts off at sea, on an old seafaring ship that are carrying 100 slaves. The captain claims it's the biggest shipment yet. A crew member is hesitant to cross the allowed zone, stating that many ships have sunk in an attempt to cross. The young crew member states that the waters are cursed and have many monsters reside there, and it hungers for sacrifices. The captain calms the young crew member's nerves by telling him they're only passing the edge of it, because the R is so dangerous that it's the perfect route to avoid being spotted by anyone. Another crewman holding a spear approaches the captain, stating that they found a stowaway. A young boy with long hair is tied up. Several crew members hold their spears to him. They say to just kill the young boy and throw him overboard. The captain nonchalantly tells them to do so. The slaves, however, disagree, stating that he is just a kid. The captain, now annoyed, coldly tells them to use their heads. He reminds the slaves that there is only enough food for 100 slaves in the crew, emphasizing that here is not enough food to share with a stowaway. A woman steps forwards and states that she will share her potion of food. The young stowaway notices that she is pregnant. Together, the other slaves, through their kindness, all agree to share a portion of their food to prevent the stowaway from being killed. While some slaves mutter that it's a stupid idea. Done with wasting his time, the captain just tells the slaves to do what they want. "Welcome aboard, kid. Guess you're slaves number 101. As all the slaves reside under the ship's deck, the pregnant woman that was first to steps up sits near the stowaway. She asks why he snuck aboard the ship. He states he was hoping to earn a living and buy his freedom and live his own life. The stowaway, while eating his portion that was shared, asks the pregnant woman why did she cover for him since there was no reason to do so. She tells him that since no one treats them with even the most basic human decency, the slaves value compassion. The stowaway is still confused as to why they would help someone for nothing. What is the point? Softly, she tells him that it lets them maintain their pride as human beings. The old man sitting near them eyes the item wrapped in her arms. She reveals that it's a knife that was given to her by her husband, but it is rusted since she didn't have the money to maintain it. The stowaway offers to polish it. He wants to repay the debt for the meal. The old man asks where he learned the skill. The young boy tells him that his own mother sold him for nothing to a blacksmith. Doing all types of work, the blacksmith would burn him with metal rods when he made any sort of mistake, no matter how small. Finally, with a straight face, the stowaway recounts of the day the blacksmith was going to kill him. The young boy grabbed a grindstone and bashed the blacksmith's head in. The other slaves only stare, some with their mouths covered with their hand. The young boy says that he has never known compassion, not even by his own mother. The pregnant slaves only look upon the young boy with pitiful eyes. The young boy is done with restoring the blade, instructing her to hide it well and to not expose it to the sea air. The pregnant woman thanks him with a smile and asks the young boy his name. "Julian," he says. The pregnant woman tells him her name is Mira. As the large wooden boat is sailing at night, everyone is asleep. Mira is awake, humming soft songs while holding and caressing her belly. Julian rises from his sleep. He asks Mira when the baby will be born, and she tells him it may be around the time they reach the new continent. She takes his hand and places it on her belly. Julian can feel the thumping of the unborn baby's kicks. He is mesmerized. Mira's only hope and wish is that her baby is born safe. She doesn't mind suffering for the rest of her life, so long as her child can live a happy life. Julian is stunned when hearing her tell him this. He asks her why she would go that far. His chest begins to feel tight. He recounts that his mother sold him. He thought such a thing was normal. He finds it difficult to bear knowing that there are mothers like Mira that exists. Mira takes Julian's hand and pulls him in to hold him tightly, shocking Julian. "The world is cruel. Life has been rough, but do not despair," says Mira. "From here on out, I want you to know, even in a world like this, love and kindness do exist." She tells him not to give on your fellow man. Later that night, Julian lays on the floor remembering the kicks of the baby in Mira's belly. Remember how the movements felt warm. The next morning, a crewman gathers the slaves and tells them to start cleaning. The slaves ask to give Mira a break because she's pregnant. Julian proposes that he does Mira's work as well as his own. The crewman punches Julian. The crewman reminds him he doesn't get to make the decisions. With a bloody mouth, Julian tries to tell him that a young boy can work harder than a pregnant woman. The crewman tells him that if he doesn't do a good job, he'll kill him. Mira asks Julian why he did such a thing, and Julian tells her he wants to make sure the baby is delivered safely. Mira kindly thanks him. An old man refuses some rations, but a younger slave tells him he should eat because he's old, and if he collapses, it would only increase the workload. Julian decides to share some of his bread, but the man tells Julian he won't be accepting food from a kid, so Mira tells him to just eat it all. At night, as the slaves are all sleeping, Julian notices that Mira is still awake. Mira gets nauseous when lying down. Julian tells Mira she is amazing to be able to carry a child, since it must be tough. Mira says that it's the first time she has been praised in such a way. However, she doesn't believe she deserves it because she's not as amazing of a mother as Julian thinks. Holding Julian's face, Mira tells him about her son, who would be about his age. He was killed by slave traders while trying to protect her and her baby. A mother who wouldn't even save her own son. She remembers his smile clearly. Knowing that she has already failed as a mother, she still wants her baby to be born safely. However, she is anxious if a baby born in a cruel world like this could even find happiness. Julian rises to his feet. Parents mean the world to children. He understands how much she loves her baby. So the baby who you love so dearly will find happiness. He holds Mira in his arms, returning the embrace from earlier in this trip. He tells her he prays for their happiness as well. Mira closes her eyes and thanks Julian. Later that day, Julian reminisced to himself that a mother doesn't cherish her child just because she's a mother, but because there is a connection with one another. That's when you start to care for each other. He believes that he understands it now. He believes that he can sense a bond between Mira and her baby. Because he was sold by his mother, he believes that he could never feel that same kind of irreplaceable bond between a mother and child. He begins to wonder, maybe I'll never be able to make that sort of bond for the rest of my life. That possibility frightens Julian. As the sun goes down, the slaves tell the crewmen that they can't see anything to finish the job, but the crewman tells them to get back to work, or else they won't be able to eat tonight. Mira, in a whisper, calls Julian over to her. As he walks to her, she tells him that the sky is breathtaking. He looks upward to the night sky. The darkness is filled with an uncountable number of stars. They both stare at the infinite number of stars above them. Mira looks at him and tells him that if they are ever liberated and free, they should live together. Julian is stunned by this request. She tells him that it would make her happy if they were near each other. Julian feels embarrassed and happy at the same time. A smile crosses his face. Too embarrassed to look at Mira, he only tells her that he will think about it. She hears him, tells him all right, and thanks him. At night, when the slaves are asleep and it begins to get colder, they keep each other warm by staying near each other. Julian is asleep, nestled in Mira's arms, as a young child would with his mother. Later, the ship is being swept into the Onboard, a dangerous area of the sea that has monsters lurking around. The captain is confused because he made sure they were supposed to be on a certain route to avoid it. A crewman speculates in fear that something may be intentionally pulling them in, maybe something that lives nearby. The captain whacks him on the head and tells him that it'll be clear if they lighten the load. The slaves are told to assemble on deck. A slave asks the captain if they really need this many people for maintenance. However, he tells him that his crew is more than enough for that. Confused, the old slave asks him why they were called. In that moment, a blade pierces through his back and out of his chest. The other slaves are caught off guard. Everyone stares in disbelief as blood gushes out of the old man's mouth. As he falls to the floor, Julian screams out. Mira asks what they're doing. The captain reminds them that he hates people who go through their days without a thought in their head. The sick, the children, pregnant women, the elderly. He tells them they're all worthless, which is why he got them for a low price. The captain reminds them that they are defective goods that no one else wanted. However, if there were an accident, it would be different. He tells them that they're all his property, so with that in mind, he can exchange them for insurance money. This is the easiest way of making a profit. He's not worried about doing this because they're near the edge of the Onboard zone. Not even military ships come around this area. There will be no witnesses. The old man, still lying on the floor and bleeding out, tells them to run away. The slaves all scream and begin to run away in a panic. The captain laughs, reminding them that they have shackles and they're in the middle of the sea. They would sink the moment they jumped off the ship. As he tells them this, the other crewmen begin to murder the slaves. the slave that refused to take food from Julian screams at Julian to get behind him. As he begins to tell him to go find Mira, he is stabbed in the chest. Julian can only stare and quietly speak the words, "Stop it," as he hears the screams of everyone being killed in front of his eyes. A slave tries to tell everyone to escape to the smaller boats, but is struck down. The sound of blood splattering and the slashing of blades on skin is all that is left. The crewmen begin carrying the dead slaves off the boat to be dumped into the sea. However, the captain stares in disbelief. It is Julian and Mira who are the only ones alive. Every single slave protected Mira and Julian. Stepping on the bodies of the slaves, he tells them that they tried and failed, that they're all expendable and would never amount to anything in their worthless lives. Julian stares at the captain in anger. He tells Julian and Mira to earn him some easy money with their lives. Done with talking, he tells a crewman to kill them and toss them into the sea. However, as he begins to walk towards Julian and Mira, he finds his body unable to move. Mira notices something strange. The raindrops themselves are frozen in midair. The captain is in a state of confusion and terror. The pair look back and see the writhing appendages slowly start to take on a form. A creature that is a mixture of human and octopus stands before them. It asks, "Do you seek my blessings?" Its face is a deep void. The creature tells them that they must first sacrifice a large number of souls. Then they must commit to a sacrifice of pure love. As its appendages reach out, it lets them know that the first condition has already been fulfilled. The second condition, however, can be fulfilled by either one of them. Therefore, the two must decide. One must be sacrificed, one shall die, while the other shall be blessed, and obtain great power. In a confused panic, he asks what it is and what it's asking of them. "Who or what I am is not important," says the creature. It informs them that what it takes away, it will grant in its stead. It will aid the one who remains. It urges them to make a choice and asks which one of them will lose their pure love. The two can only stare at each other with these words echoing in their heads. Dread washes over him. He looks at her as Mira cradles her belly with her unborn child. He is hunched over and asks for clarification. The one left behind will be saved. The creature tells him he is correct. They will be safe. In a flash of determination, he offers his life. He tells her that she needs to deliver her baby no matter what. Mira can only lower her head and grit her teeth upon hearing this. He tells her to live a happy life and begins to walk forth. When she looks up, he is looking back at her with a happy and content face. His smile reminds her of her son, who died protecting her. Surrounded by death, she tells him she will not allow this to happen a second time. In her hands is the very knife that he sharpened and restored for her. Julian is surprised. With a hesitant smile, she tells him that his new sibling will now be in his care. He rushes to stop her, but it is too late. As she grunts in pain and drags the blade across her belly, she asserts that she absolutely refuses to allow anything to happen to her unborn child, and that she does not care what happens to her. She wishes the child to be born and live. The cries of a newborn are heard. Covered in blood, she tearfully holds the baby in her arms. The only thing he can say is her name. She tells him that the baby is a girl, and she'll name her Diana. She gives the baby to him to hold and tells them both that she loves them so much. He is in despair. She begins to stagger off, her entrails hanging outside of her body. As she reaches the side of the ship to finally sacrifice herself, he yells out her name. She looks back for a moment as she stands on the railing and topples off into the sea below. The creature tells him that it is satisfied and to state his wish. The creature says that strength will emerge from the pits of his despair. The crew are all still frozen and unable to move. He remembers the words of the captain, telling him that all of the slaves are scum and are expendable. He tells the creature that he wants proof that everyone's lives weren't a waste. The creature tells him he'll have his proof, and smoke envelops him. His left eye now bears the signs of the power of the sacrifice. The creature tells the crew they are now allowed to move. The captains yell for everyone to kill the kid and the monster. They wonder if the creature will sell for a high price. He erupts with power, rushes towards the captain and clutches his throat, bashing his head against the wooden planks. Both eyes now show webs of darkness. as the captain drops to the floor, unconscious and twitching. The dark veins now cover most of his body. He is confused as to what is happening. The creature tells him that he now has the power and life force of 100 slaves. Everyone's essence has been combined and bestowed upon him. He looks at Diana and tells her to wait there a while longer. The crew all brandish their weapons, ready to kill him, as mysterious dark smoke drifts from his body. Someone yells out to charge all at once. However, it does not matter, because he has massacred everyone, ripping off the head of the last one alive. Finally done, he walks back to Diana to pick her up. As he leans down, a spear pierces through his neck from the back. The captain, holding the spear, tells him he let his guard down and that he has the last laugh.